Hello everybody, this is Saberrex coming to you live with my third review for the Beasts of the Mesozoic Raptor Series 1/6 Scale Action Figures by Creative Beast Studio and David Silva. And today we are going to be looking at the fifth figure in the series, Balaur bondoc. So here we are, and there it is. And before we take a look at the figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So here is the packaging for Balaur bondoc with the magnified illustration done by Jonathan Quo. Very nicely done painting, very brilliantly colored, very realistic. And here inside of it is the removable diorama you can place behind the figure for added effect. I really like that jungle-ish sort of background. Absolutely lovely to think about. So here on the back we have the full body illustration by Jonathan Quo and some fun facts about Balaur itself. And on the back as well we also have the list of figures for the Beasts of the Mesozoic toy line, not including the Fan's Choice variants. So there you have that. And now let's move on to the figure itself. So here we have Balaur bondoc, the stocky dragon, as it were. And Balaur is probably one of the most unusual creatures there is, both in the toy line and in real life. Because, for one thing, in real life, Balaur is not a dromaeosaur, it is in fact a bird. This is not a raptor, this is actually a bird. It is also an herbivore, which makes it the only vegetarian dinosaur in the entirety of the toy line. So, very, very cool in that regard. And unlike the rest of the Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, he does not have 26 points of articulation, but rather 28. And I'll show you why. He does have all his normal articulation in the arms, the neck, the torso, the legs, and the tail. But he also has, in the toes as well, 2 more added points of articulation with these extra killing claws on his feet. Now, these are not actually used for killing prey in Balaur. These were actually more for gripping. But at the same time, this is a very unique animal and a very unique figure itself. This is undoubtedly the most unusual of them, and definitely the one that stands out. And color-wise, I really love the design for this. I don't remember offhand what bird was used as the reference for it, but I quite like it. It's very reminiscent of a grackle or a magpie, as far as I'm concerned, and it really works with this figure. I love especially the figure's mask around the eyes, and contrasting with those dark eyes is that really brilliant blue. It really works for this. And the dry brushing on this is absolutely incredible. The detail is, like with all Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, absolutely stunning. Appearance-wise, he also has the longest wings out of all of them, or at least they could be tied with that of Zenuan long in regards to length, but I think these are actually just a little bit longer. And I really love the design on these wings as well. I mean, zooming in on it, you can see all these striations on the wings that show that these are actually really feathered dinosaurs. And I absolutely love it. The detail is incredible. Now, he does have another unique feature on here as well, looking at the wings, and that is that his hands have 2 fingers instead of 3. And the reason for that is because in real life, Balaur only has 2 fingers. It wasn't using its hands for much of anything, so it was actually, in fact, 2-fingered because it was losing use of its hands. And I'm very glad that they got that shown really well in the toy line. It really, really works for that. Now, he does have Very nice appearance on the underbelly. I'm going to just move his wing a little so you can see that. But yeah, that thick array of feathers on the chest, I really like that as well, and that's made of a soft plastic. Much as with most of these figures that have the soft plastic piece, he's on there with an added chest piece. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, again, he does have the 26 points of articulation, including in the neck, the head, the jaws, the feet, the tail, all the arms, everything. And he works really well in regards to articulation. And again, like all these figures, because it is universal, he does have 2 sockets for the tail when you want to attach it at a certain way. It can be either pointed up vertically like I have here, or it can be held out horizontally by way of a ball peg behind the hips. Now, in regards to his stand, he has a very nice looking stand that looks like lush, sandy, and moss-covered jungle floor, which is perfect because Balaur bondoc does live on an island. It was an island dinosaur, or I should say an island bird. And yeah, I really like how that looks. It works really well for the figure. Underneath, he does have the display base with the hidden compartment for his extra set of running toes, which I have stored here on the little pegs underneath. And that's a great way to keep from losing any pieces you have. And I love this figure. I'm very glad that David Silva added this to the toy line, because it is a great way to bring attention to this mysterious animal. And he's just incredible. I mean, Balaur is very unusual because it was living on an island of dwarves and giant pterosaurs that served as the apex predators. I mean, this fellow was living alongside sauropods called Magyarosaurus, which were about the size of a rhino. It was also living alongside cow-sized hadrosaurs, duck-billed dinosaurs, and it was also living alongside the giant pterosaurs that served as the apex predators, Saberrex, which probably would have been eating this guy for lunch. So, very, very interesting creature in regards to that. These animals roamed Romania around 70 million years ago during the late Cretaceous in the area that is now known as Hatseg, and that back then was, of course, the island, Hatseg Island, that this animal lived on. It was an island-dwelling animal that evolved to look like a raptor, maybe even behave like a raptor, but it went its own way in regards to evolution. This is actually a bird that... It's a bird that basically just evolved to look like a raptor and fill out a specific niche in its environment. Now, in regards to size, I'm going to show you a couple of comparisons with him and some of the other beasts of the Mesozoic figures. So, here he is alongside beasts of the Mesozoic, Atrociraptor marshalli, that you can see here. And as you can see, he is in fact a little bit taller overall than Atrociraptor. Atrociraptor is longer because Balaur has a much shorter tail, but Balaur is taller. He also has much longer wings than Atrociraptor does, because if you've watched my previous video reviews for the beasts of the Mesozoic, you'll know that Atrociraptor has these very short little wings. And I think these work very well in regards to comparisons. It really works for them. And yeah, the differences are quite noticeable, because this is a real raptor, this is not. This is a bird, again. And here he is for an added comparison with Velociraptor mongoliensis. So here is Velociraptor mongoliensis alongside Balaur bondoc. And as you can see, the differences between them are very noticeable, both color-wise and anatomy-wise. This is a dromaeosaur. This is actually a bird. But yeah, very, very lovely. I love how they contrast together. And the bird like anatomy on these animals is just so well done. And overall, again, like with Atrociraptor, Balaur is actually just slightly taller than Velociraptor, but at the same time, Velociraptor is actually longer than Balaur overall, because Velociraptor does have the longer tail. And yeah, it really works quite well in regards to them. Now, for those of you who might be asking why I did figure number 5 before I did figures 3 and 4, it's because I ordered these dinosaur figures via split shipping when I pre-ordered them, so that way the first 7 would arrive to me on time while the others were still undergoing the retooling and the sculpting and the finishing up of their paint jobs. So I'm not doing them in order in regards to like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I am going to be doing them, all of them, once a week until I have them all. So I just thought that I'd let you all know for future videos as a result. So you were not going to see some of the other ones like Saugon and Autosaurus and Sauronitholistes and Acheroraptor until probably about May, which is when they'll arrive. So in regards to that, yeah, I thought I'd just inform you about that. Now, I really love Balaur overall in regards to this figure, and when I saw that he was actually one of the stretch goals when they started the Beasts of the Mesozoic project on Kickstarter, I was thrilled by the idea that it would actually be reached in regards to the stretch goal, because that is such a cool creature, and it was such a great way to bring attention to it. And I really thought at the time that it was going to be the last stretch goal reach, but thank God I was wrong. I'm so glad I was wrong about that, because there are so many more figures I am going to be reviewing after Balaur, and I cannot wait to show them to you. Now, price-wise, he was a little bit cheaper than the first couple Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, like Atrociraptor, Sargon, and Velociraptor were all $40, but this guy ran about $35 on BackerKit, which was where you could pre-order the figures after the Kickstarter campaign had ended. And he might be a little bit more now, but overall, Balaur is an excellent figure to have in the collection, and he's an excellent figure to have just in general. Just such a cool creature, and that paint job, the anatomy of this dinosaur, it is absolutely unique. He's just gorgeous, and I am very glad to have him, and I highly recommend getting him to you. I highly recommend getting him. So there you have it. Beasts of the Mesozoic, Balaur bondoc, the stocky dragon. So this is Saberrex signing out, saying, you're never too old to play with toys. Don't be afraid to unleash your inner child, and have a good day. Thank you.